So we've got some outside work that's wrapping up. We have some masonry work that's wrapping up, and we have some electrical work that's wrapping up. So all of that is coming up next, so stay with us. All right, well, I know it's been a couple of weeks since we were last here, but it's been kind of crazy. You know, if you follow on my other renovation bit, we're doing most of the work there ourselves, but here we have the professionals, the not me, working on the place. So it's difficult to film around their schedule, and I don't want to hold them up at all. So I come over and take some photos, so there'll be some pictures of some progress that's going on here. But you can see from the front elevation that all of the clapboards have been stripped and repairs have been made. The front actually is in pretty good shape, as was the first side, the side that's over here, which was the side that we started on by taking the chimney down. So we will take a look at actually what is the north side, the garage side, here in a second, and see all that they've had to do over there. All right, well, you see on the wall behind me a ton of plywood. This ended up being the worst side. Water is the enemy, as you've often heard me say, and the water over the years had really infiltrated this wall. And so basically from the sill, the piece that sits right near the ground, all the way up, has had to be rebuilt. I'm not going to say it's been replaced because there were some factors involved. The studs in the wall were attached to the plaster on the other side, so you couldn't remove them. So they had to scribe 2x4s next to each of the old ones and fit each one in by hand and insulate. So we got to insulate, which was I guess a good part of all of this, is we did get to insulate. If you look up, you can see some of the old sheathing is still there. That's really all that's left of the old outside. The structure behind it is you can see a little bit over there, a little bit of the structure behind it still exists, but there's not a lot. There's a couple of windows that go in here that have been removed that will be rebuilt and replaced as time goes on. So what's next on this side is will look like the rest of it. They'll house wrap it. They'll put the Tyvek wrap on, and then prepare for our clapboards that hopefully are going to be installed very soon, within the next couple of days, we hope. So that's basically what's been going on out here. It's that the bad part of it is you're never going to see any of it, but we know that now the structure is sound. We did find some interesting things. We can talk about, there's some interesting things that we found out. So you never know what the structure is, right? We've talked about it's post and beam. So you've got a sill plate, you've got posts, you've got beams that go across the top, then you've got the rafters that go up, and you have these pieces in between. All these have technical names. It doesn't really matter what it is. But we found out is that the structure, the actual frame, is oak. And they figured that out because they were cutting some pieces out and they could smell it. And that's where it came from. But being as old as it is, it's somewhat petrified. And they were having an extremely difficult time putting fasteners into the wood. Screws, nails, they couldn't pound anything in by hand. That was impossible. It all had to be done pneumatic with the nail gun, and even that was struggling to get a nail into it because it's just been here for so long. So all the wood's been treated. They treat it with this, I forget what it's called. I think we talked about it before. They paint it on. It seals up the wood. It makes it bug resistant and all of that. The sheathing along the bottom, where it's closest to grade, is all pressure treated, so that will resist any moisture that happens to get in there. Our task after this is done is to move the grade away from the house. The soil, the dirt is too close to the wood surface, so that all needs to be removed. Still yet to be done is the bulkhead, which is right there. That needs to be replaced, and they will work on that along with some other things, the dormers in the front. Not a lot's going on inside, except the masonry work is done. So let's go on inside and we'll check out the masonry work, and you can see what's been done in there. All right, so we've come into the kitchen, and this is the central fireplace. If you are just joining us for the first time, you want to go back a couple episodes so you can see where we talk about the central fireplace that's in this, or the central chimney, I should say, not the fireplace. The central chimney that's in this house. There are 4 fireplaces. There's the big cooking one that's here in the kitchen that you see behind me, and there's one each in the dining room and the parlor, and then there's one upstairs in the master bedroom. None of them operate at the present time as wood-burning fireboxes. So, as you can see behind me, the masons have been here. Again, if you've tuned in to previous episodes, you saw a stud wall here. In fact, you can see a little bit of the stud still hanging right there that I didn't remove. And there were a few holes in the chimney here. They were holes where previous wood-burning stoves, the pipes had gone through. Those were all sealed up, and they stuccoed the outside of the chimney. It's going to be behind a wall. You're not going to see it, so they did it for structural purposes to give it a little bit more strength. There were a lot of step cracks, so they were cracks that followed the path of the bricks as they went up. So this way, by doing this, it gives some stiffness, some rigidity to the whole structure. It goes right around the corner. We'll see that in a second when we go into the parlor. The plan for here is the mantle will get restored. The wall around it will all get restored. We'll see that coming up in a future episode. So let's take a trip to the parlor next so we can see the work that's been done in there. Okay, so this is the parlor, or the living room. And again, if you recall from a previous episode, this area of the chimney, sort of where that discoloration is, right about there, had all crumbled. The structure itself, the bricks had all collapsed on top of each other. And so the masons had to basically rebuild that entire section of the chimney. I have some photos of that will run while I'm talking in the background. It was very interesting to sort of watch how they did this. I was kind of nervous watching them, but they're professionals. I trusted them, and they did what they needed to do to get the job done. And so again, same thing here. They stuccoed the chimney to fill in the cracks after they rebuilt all the work. Just like the work that the carpenters are doing outside, most of the work that the masons did, you can't even see because it's buried, and it will be buried behind the wall. Now you'll notice the firebox, the back wall is brick, but the side walls have been stuccoed. This was another, I'm not sure when, late 17, early 1800 innovation in fireboxes. There was evidence that it had been stuccoed in the past, so we kind of went with that to restore it. It gives it kind of a cleaner finish. Again, in here, the wall will be restored, and there'll be a mantle placed over it, much like the one in the dining room, which we'll go check out in a minute. But the big story in this whole thing is that, and I'm going to turn the camera, is that we were able to finally open that door. Hello. Again, if you've followed along from the beginning of this whole operation, you'll know that there was a wall, a big wall, sheetrock wall here. This was all hidden behind a sheetrock wall. You can see some of the beams are still there, some of the 2x4s up on the ceiling. All that was removed. It revealed this wonderful aged paneling. There's 2 closets there, much like there is in the dining room. And this door, which goes out to the front entry hall. The wall will be restored, much like what you see here. Not as much wood that's here will be over here. There'll be more plaster and a mantle. And we'll talk more about why when we get to that point in the renovation. All right, let's pop over to the dining room, and we can do a little bit of some more talk over there. All right, this was the most complete fireplace in the house. Mantle, there's the plaster with the mural, I guess, above it, which we really haven't talked about a whole lot because I don't know much about it. But there's a mural up there. It's hard to see right now with the sunlight the way it is. But the parlor firebox will have a similar appearance to this firebox. The mantle and the surround will look similar. You see that there's a cabinet here and there's a door. There's more wood over in the parlor than there is here, but it will be plaster above and beside. The wainscoting will continue around. Again, there's a lot of work that's been going on here behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that have been done. My father-in-law Joe, who you may remember from, if you watched our cottage renovation series, you've met my father-in-law Joe. He's working with us here again, doing the electrical. We did some work here today. We are working to bring things up to code here. There's a lot of things that go on that you're never even going to see. They're going to be all sealed up in walls, and that's the nature of construction. You don't see most of it. But we're very pleased with the progress. Things are moving right along. We've found some things that we weren't expecting, but that's the nature of a restoration of a structure that's almost 400 years old. And I have to keep. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this, you can subscribe. Please subscribe. Ding the little bell down below. You'll be reminded of when episodes come out. Sometimes I do quick shorts during the week just to bring you up to date on things. We also have a Facebook page for Loring House. You can follow us there. I post some pictures. A couple of times a week I post pictures of things that are going on around here that you may miss out in the absence of any video. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us on this crazy journey that we're on. And I really appreciate it. We'll see you again next time.